Welcome to this episode of EdTech People, discussing the past, present, and future of working with technology in education.
Hello and welcome to this episode of EdTech People. Once again, I'm joined by Jack and my name's Matt, and we'll be your host for the next 45 minutes or so to discuss the life and times of EdTech in the world. Jack, how are you doing? It's been a little while, hasn't it? We've been missing each other.
It's been a few weeks. Last episode, obviously, we had Austin, Ian, and Chris Maddox on.
Chris, you did, yeah.
And then since then, I think for various reasons, both our lives have got slightly chaotic, which is to be expected.
Over the last fortnight, I've done 800 odd miles, attended far too many meetings. And I think I've just said to you about I'm very, very tired this evening. We've had Halo launch today for Concero.
Nice.
And custom portal that I've built, me and Claude, my mate Claude, have built, linking together all our different platforms, opening it up to customers. So it's been exciting,
Nice.
for sure. But sleep has been, I think I saw yesterday, Claude decided, I said to Claude, I want to do something fun for the launch day. And I was thinking like confetti launching on the page. And then it said, I know what's fun. I'll tell you how much work that you've done on here. You've done 900 odd commits over 80 days. I was like, that's not fun, Claude. That's not fun.
We need to have a conversation about what fun is defined as.
Yes, exactly. I need to teach him a bit better. But you're coming up to your new role, aren't you? So exciting times there. Not winding down, but getting ready to move on from your current role.
It's that weird phase, isn't it? I think we've all been in it, where we're transitioning out of one organisation, sort of transitioning into another one. And it's kind of, well, I've always gone quite quickly at pace with a lot of the projects to deliver. I've not really had projects to deliver necessarily over the last few months. The work has shifted to make sure the team is positioned to continue successfully. Make sure various systems are handed over, documented, where updates it. So it's a little bit of a change of pace, which is quite nice in a way. But at the same time, as someone who likes to move fast, and
you're ready for the new start and excitement.
Sight for that. So it certainly has been different. And I think one of the big things that I'm proud of is sort of the team that we've got kind of taken over. So some of the guys are promoting into various roles by the looks of it, which is
nice.
Really positive in that way. It shows development and progress. And, I'm really proud of, I look at where those boys were when they joined to where they are now and what they're going to go on to do. And, that's what we need to do, isn't it? Develop our people and give people that progression, and not just, you don't always want to have to leave, do you? You want to be able to progress within that.
Yeah, you want to see other people. It's a really nice thing, actually, because when I moved to Concero, a couple of guys came with me that had worked with me at Lord's IT, and they've progressed. There's Jake, who I did one of these podcasts with a while ago now. He's gone from an apprentice. He's now running the help desk at Concero, and we've now got substantial number of schools that he supports. He does all the Arbor training and stuff like that, so he does a really good job. He launched Halo in about 3 weeks from scratch, having never seen it before, so that's really good. Yeah. And then on top of that, we've got Tom, who I've worked with. He came from Asda, and he's now one of our senior technical guys, and I love working with him because we know each other so well. Those people that you can just bounce off and have a good laugh with. And but yeah, both of them have brought houses in the time since they've worked for me, and raised in their roles, and have done really, really well. So there's nothing more rewarding than seeing other people succeed. So so it's good to see that they're moving people into those positions at your old place. So in the last couple of weeks, we've had a new Prime Minister. We've had all other kinds of stuff going. Oh, yeah. No, we haven't had a new one yet, but we know we're going to get a new one, don't we?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so all that's changed. But what are we focusing on this week to talk about, Jack? I know you had a couple of ideas.
Yeah, so I think going off some conversations with suggestions from some colleagues, but also a lot of the work I've been doing over the last sort of several months and years almost now. And Matt, I think we touched on it previously, is some of that wider stuff outside of those core IT responsibilities. And that's where we kind of flicker over to that digital phrase a little bit, I think, because, we touched on this before again around IT isn't IT anymore. It's part of a wider encompass of different things, which digital sort of encompasses a lot more as a word, I guess. I'm sure someone would phrase it a lot smarter and make it sound a lot better than that. But
it's our podcast, so
this is it. Like, do you know what I mean?
We don't have to worry about other people.
Yeah. From Birmingham, innit? So, so the focus really at the moment, and we'll go off piece as always, but it's going to be around sort of access control, CCTV, and sort of that IoT element, I guess, of the security element, but also whatever else that looks like. So Matt, I guess my initial thoughts are, if we start with sort of the CCTV element. Now, there's probably a few caveats around, so not caveats, a few directions of conversation there. You've got sort of the hardware element and systems element, but also the process element, which I'm kind of maybe a little bit more interested in. Because I find it more often than not, having conversations around, I need to download this CCTV and send it to these 5,000 people, and we're going to publish a live stream as well. And no, that may be going a little bit overboard there, but I think it emphasizes.
If there's anybody publishing it to live stream, I think we might need to make a little report there.
Yeah.
On snow days, it's always helpful to be the person that have access to the CCTV to see the snow for yourself, isn't it?
And that's what we did. Was it earlier this year? It wasn't it, when it snowed? We've got same CCTV platforms across the entire trust, and we can pull everything into a single dashboard, and we can literally go. We didn't, but we could have gone, here's the CCTV dashboard for the entire trust, and the estates team could have just sat at home and seen everything without having to go in and out of 14 different places. But yeah, so for one of my biggest things is like, okay, who needs access to CCTV? How is CCTV being used? Is it being used in line with the policy and people's interpretations of the policy? Because as we all know, you could word something in one way, which could actually mean 5 different things, depending on how you want to interpret it and the situation. And sort of the flow of data. So for us, for example, it's took us a long time to get here, and the processes are in place, and there's still people don't always follow them, but if you are going to view CCTV, that's fine. So like if you're a head teacher, deputy head teacher, site manager, you can log in and you have view only essentially, so you can see what's going on, and you can roll back, but you can't physically download make copies of those files and download them. That's kind of by design to sort of keep hold of, what are we doing with that data? Where's it going? Because it's retention policies, as you know, that all come into play. Off the back of that, we then go into, if you need it for a reason, let's say there's a safeguarding incident, we need to take a copy, a security incident, the police have requested something, say for, how many times have you had it where something's happened outside the school and someone's ran past the fence and it's not blacked out and you can see them? The police then, for whatever reason, want a copy of that. So we have an approval flow in Halo, which basically submits to make sure it's being used for the right reasons, the right forms have been filled in, etc. So we've built a real kind of process-orientated workflow essentially for how you access this data and that. But people don't always want to do it. They don't want to follow it. They just want what they want when they want it. And I don't know. Do you have much involvement with that, Matt, within your role?
I mean,
or is it different?
I have before when I've been a network manager and a trust lead, and it is one of those things that, for me, anything I can do to shift that away from being IT's problem, as you're talking about the IT's to digital type of thing, I try to, because there's a school that we support at the moment. fully managed school, and so much of the technician's time is taken up with sourcing the CCTV, showing it to the staff, and then exporting it and sharing it with other people. That's a huge amount of time. So any way that you can do that so that the teachers or the leadership are, you know, able to access that footage themselves is really useful from a time point of view. But then, you know, then you're trusting people to use this sensitive data, which, you know, they've got to follow policies for. And we all know that not everybody in school follows the correct policies, let alone reads all the policies. So it comes with risks. You know, if you can control access to who has it tightly, and you those people that follow it, that's all good. But inevitably these things drift, don't they? You know, you let a couple of people, and then like, oh, could you just add so and so people? And then they don't tell you when so and so's gone, but their login still works. It can turn into a whole nightmare. And then you've, as you say, you know, that whole policy side for retention. Now, schools did go through a time when GDPR was being introduced to you know, really work to look at this stuff. But then in reality, I think the cases of well managed data in schools is still few and far between. You know, recently the issue of DPIAs has come up for systems that you're using, and you know, schools just aren't doing it anymore because the people that were there when it was, you know, introduced and not there anymore, and those procedures haven't there. And I think with CCTV, I think also time has changed now to where it's more acceptable. But maybe when I started, I started 20 odd years ago, there was no CCTV. In the last 15 years or so, where there's been CCTV in the schools that I've worked at, like, it's now common. And so it's not, you don't have to worry about it. You know, I was in one of the first schools that introduced biometrics. We had, not even for lunch, just for lunch, we did it for lesson register. And the amount we had kick off about that, and CCTV and all that kind of stuff, using those in there, and schools not have a handle of what data that they've got is really risky. Who's accessing it, why, where are the policies for it? And then I think also in these day and age of cybersecurity nightmares, you know, where's that data stored? You know, if it's still on site, what are the risks? Are they updating their MVRs? You know, if they've got hip vision or something like that, are they keeping them up to date or not? Or they just working so they don't bother touching them? Even if they're on self-update, does anybody check to see if that's actually happening? How would they know if there's a data leak? And then if you got it in the cloud, kind of the same questions, you know, you got to know who's managing it, what's their retention policies.
Yeah, it's all the same risks, isn't it? It's just somewhere else.
Yeah, it's somebody else that you can blame. And I think the use of it now is so prolific. They use it a lot.
Close enough.
Close enough. I mean, I went to one school and they had toilets with alarms in them, but then they had cameras on the door that counted how many people went in and out and set the traffic light outside to how many people that were in there to other people can go in there. And then now you've got systems that can track faces across the site. So you can say, this is the person that I'd like to track. Show me where they've been across the site. It raises huge ethical, you know, privacy concerns. And I understand that it's there for behaviour, but I wonder the amount that you're spending on so many cameras. And we, you know, in schools, we're talking huge amounts of cameras. There's always, just add this one here, just add it on this one here.
Every summer, let's review where we had issues, where do we need to put one.
Something happened, this wasn't covered, let's put another one in.
Something
might not have happened for like 5 years there, but all of a sudden it's a priority to put a camera just in case so we don't miss it again.
But that's education, isn't it? It's quite reactionary at times. I don't think we'll ever get
we're not going to solve that in this 45-minute episode.
I don't know. I think if anyone can, challenge accepted. But no, Matt, you've come across some really kind of positive, good points there, and I think no matter what people in IT's opinions are, because I think often we share the same ones around how these platforms may or may not be being used, etc. It's never going to change, is it? I think because actually. Let's say, little scraps happened outside, and instead of going old school, okay, who said, do a proper investigation in a sense, speak to the kids, who's done what, try and find it out that way. Let's just go and watch the camera. And it saves people's time in an already busy environment, and you kind of understand that, don't you? So yeah, there's certainly a lot around that. I think you kind of touched on the power of the systems now as well, where you've just said about how you can track people from A to B, or you can use, do they call it contextual search or whatever it is? So like you can literally say, I know you bitched in one of their sales videos. Apologies if you can hear the dog barking in the background. I don't know what's wrong with it. But like you can search, show me the man in the red hat, and it will just scour through all footage and pull everything up.
Well, it is AI, isn't it? So this is the
100%.
big risk now. And it was interesting. I was listening to one of my podcasts on the way to work today, and who was it? It's The Rest is Entertainment, and they were talking about the risk proposed by smart glasses, and all this, the Meta glasses and stuff coming through there as well, and AI and being able to identify bits that are being shown is just crazy. Absolutely. Do you need to go and check on your dog?
No, I've just checked the camera. It's all good. I can see what's happening. It's called the Spot Cam, so my dog's called Spock, and my missus has decided to vacuum by the dog, and the dog hates the vacuum. So I don't know why that's I'm going to go record a podcast. Oh, let's wind the dog up.
Yes. Well, for those listening, soon we'll be interrupted by my Tesco delivery coming. So me and Jack have got life sorted for doing this.
We're doing really, really well.
We're doing really well.
Normally we're a lot more organised, and
but it's real life, isn't it? At the end of the day,
and it's probably it's a crazy time of year as well, isn't it?
It is, but yeah. So AI in terms of within the CCTV is a new frontier.
But really powerful. I've got it on my home stuff as well, and I love it because I can do a load of fancy stuff, and it's cool. But
I mean, it goes back to and actually this is something I think we've spoken about before, about those false positives that you need to try and eradicate from systems. And when you're looking at monitoring and filtering, we're having the same conversations there. What can we do to reduce the load so only the real things coming through? And CCTV exactly the same. You have a lot of false positive alerts, and CCTV can obviously help with that.
Absolutely.
But I mean, at what point does the cost become prohibitive that schools are spending on this kind of stuff compared to spending on normal devices? I mean, it's. But then you could turn around and say the same thing about metal detectors, not for knife crime and stuff like that. I suppose only one thing has to happen that needed it, and if it's not in place, then you're in trouble. It's interesting for me because I think it's not actually something that we actively sell at all. So we have schools that have it, and obviously it runs across the networks, and we have to make it work. But we don't make a habit of we simply don't sell it. Although some of the unifying ubiquity stuff looks really cool to put in within those existing platforms.
That's why I run my home network off and my home CCTV. But I also my current 14 schools, they are all full ubiquity unify. We've sort of pre-ordered some of those Gen 2 MVRs to replace some of the Gen 1s because they've got some more advanced AI stuff built in where before you'd need AI key. So like, I think, and it's cost effective, which is brilliant in that sense, so Ubiquiti come sponsor us. But it's a great platform. And it kind of moves us on to the access control element as well. Like, I think,
this is a good one to talk about as well, I think.
This is again, there's technology. There's a few things there, isn't there? There's the technology around access. So every school's, for the most part, everyone's familiar with Paxton. It's probably the most common one in education. Love it, hate it. I don't know. I've got opinions on it.
What are your opinions, Jack?
Oh, I find it frustrating, but I think that's just because like we're on Net 2, for example. So it's the only thing we keep. I've still got a box for is Paxton Net 2 and single one for the trust, so that makes things easier. But
every school that we go and do anything in really, but all the cloud migrations, Net2, Paxton is the one thing that we have to keep local.
Yeah.
And like, I was speaking to someone today and I was like, oh, well, we really want to move everything. I'm like, can you justify the costs really for, we stick it on a NUC, and I don't
And
think you can.
Didn't Paxton 10's obviously like their newer version.
Yeah.
And at one point, didn't that run on NUCs? Is that right? Like, was something like the cloud version, but it ran on NUCs? I don't know if they've got a full hosted version now.
So they might do.
So there's options out there. I think the
I suppose you
frustration
haven't
thing.
got one of your schools with like the Ubiquity kit for doing
So we looked into this. So there's a big thing in our trust of like, various people want their card to work everywhere at all the schools, and that's the most important thing ever. So it makes it really hard to test. So like, we bought some stuff and we've tested it locally on like some of the comms rooms and some of our IT offices. Works really great. Like, and hopefully in the new trust we can do some stuff around that element because it's cost effective, really powerful. But for me, it's so it links in with Entra, but it's all part of that wider Unify ecosystem. So let's say you're doing Unify Wi-Fi, you can use Fabric linking with Entra, and you can like send, so you can authenticate the Wi-Fi with your Entra credentials. You can also have your passkey on the endpoint app to get through doors, for example, using the Apple Wallet, etc. So it pulls it all together nicely. So if you're in that ecosystem, it works really well.
And I think this highlights a challenge, doesn't it? Because which people may not be aware of, and not in a trust or something like that. We've gone from these single school systems now managing multiple schools using that system and then having to link them up. So before you might, have just what your one school using Paxton, Net2, then suddenly, you get a trust of a few schools and they're all using it and they've all got their individual installs. So then the impact for the people, the end user, they're like, oh, you've got Paxton at each site, so why can't I just flip between all of these? And like, unfortunately, the technology doesn't work like that, and the version of Paxton Net2 that they've got, won't be able to support that.
And that's a big one, isn't it? So you might be on Net2 in one place. Switch 2, I think, is the standalone version. Paxton 10, which is their newer version, they've just released a standalone, like some other sort of cloud thing, which I haven't really looked into. But so there's so many different things, and different suppliers are selling different solutions. Or it might be you've got Net2, but you've got the different types. So you've got like MyFair readers and non-MyFair. So like certain different types of cards will read, and it's like you think you're good, but actually no, because if you've got the wrong type of reader, you've now got to buy the proper Paxton cards instead of the MyFair cards if you want to get, and that's like, what is it, 30 quid for 10 as opposed to like £2 for 10. Like, so it's all these little things. So yeah, access is one that I'm really keen to get into and do a lot more work about in terms of what's the right solution and testing it further.
Who manages it as well? Because this is a big bugbear for me at the moment. And it's been like with safeguarding stuff for a while, and I've said it plenty of times on here. Just because something runs on computers doesn't mean it's IT's job to manage them. In fact, with safeguarding, it's explicitly not their job to do it. They can't. Your average technician won't be able to identify, prevent, or FGM to the level needed, which is a legal responsibility to report it. So why would you put them in that position? It's unfair. If we put teachers in that position without the training, it'd be raised. Now, when we're looking at other things, and I think this is true for print management, I think this is true for CCTV and door access. Once you've installed that software on there and trained somebody how to use it, why is it IT's job to print out all the badges? Why is it IT's job to set the paper cut balance? Why is it IT's job for all these different elements of it when it's just using a program? It's not IT's job to come and write your letter to parents or something like that because it's on a computer. And it's just like, I know we're IT people and but there's so much more we could be doing that makes better use of our time in schools that have got a really tight budget than doing this other stuff, which absolutely everybody who knows how to use a computer is capable of using Net2, Paxton, or paper cut. It's just another thing to put on there to do it. And often those people, and then that's when schools turn around and say, oh yeah, we've got a real problem with, our technician, we've fallen out, but he's got access to, or she's got access to everything. I'm like, well, why Why would you do
Yeah,
that? You know,
yeah,
why would you
completely agree.
rely on one person?
I completely agree with that. Now, incidentally, even whilst I agree, so we manage like all of the access element as a trust for the at the moment as an IT team, and I think like the ID card point you made there is a really, really great point. I remember a few years ago having their massive arguments like, I'm not spending $1,500 on an ID card printer. Someone else can pay for that. It's not an IT. Do you know what I mean? The back and forth of like budgets and who's paying for what. And um, it's an interesting one. And I think with the right systems in place, I almost don't mind my teams managing those systems like to a level. So like
Mm.
access is one of those where it's like, I think when you're running multiple sites across a single net2 instance or whatnot, even though you can do some stuff with permissions and departmental stuff, we kind of went, actually, let's just manage that
And that's
because
okay,
the risk
as
element.
long as you're funded to take on those additional jobs.
So,
And you've
yeah.
got clear processes and the systems are,
So
if
for
you,
us, go on,
go on.
Carrot. No, go on.
I was just going to say, like, if they're unwilling to invest in a system that's easy for you to manage and you have to manually manage lots of single incidents of it, then you can't have it both ways. If you want IT to manage it, let IT manage it with a system that work, you know, do their job, connect
Agreed.
systems, make it unified.
Agreed.
Because I understand, you know, it ties in with so many different things. There's some schools that I know that every kid's got, you know, Paxton and stuff on it, you know, and that's a job to manage it itself. But don't forget that you've given them that job to manage it on top of everything else. So when you're saying, oh, well, they haven't come and fixed this device or something like that, and then, but they're stuck in the office printing off badges for everybody that have forgotten theirs, you know, don't turn around and complain,
really,
basically.
No, I agree. And so for us, we've not got to that. So it's basically, estates fund the access and CCTV elements, so we don't pay for it, but we work closely with our esteemed colleagues in estates to deliver and manage those systems. They understand that, and you know, we have great relationships with the estates directorate, so you can imagine the levels of banter that goes on around people's inability to put a camera up in the right place, etc. But you know, they'll do a lot of, like, they'll run the cables, they'll put the cameras in, we'll provision, like we meet them halfway. And it saves them loads of money, right? Because these things are really expensive, to the point where we set up an account with one of the wholesalers, and we deliver our own Paxton Net2 installs as well. So you take an install from, let's say, circa 1,500 to £2,000 per door down to 500 quid because you're delivering it yourself. Meets all the regs, get the fire guys post to come and put an IO mod in, etc. But you then suddenly save a lot. Even if you account for the person's time to install that door, you're saving well over £1,000 per install.
Yeah. And I think, you know, the flip side of that is where you've just said, you know, you do the fire bits and everything like that.
The fire guys do the fire bits.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, as in get them to do. Yeah. You just start the fires. You're not denying it.
But let's not get bogged down in the details.
What are you doing? I'm just testing the fire alarm system.
It's real world testing.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember my point now. What was I saying about?
You were suggesting about the fire stuff on the doors.
But yeah. So if you do it yourself, you know, it's not everybody does it to the same standard, obviously, and
exactly.
You can be in some situations when, you know, do you know the guy who's put it in or the girl who's put it in, have they actually met those standards, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't want, when somebody starts a fire, is not when you want to know. You know, and it's even more prevalent these days with lockdown, isn't it? So lockdown, Martin's Law, huge things at the moment for this.
Yeah.
Interestingly, you know, we've had schools very, very recently, I won't go into detail for obvious reason, that I've had the real life lockdown. And, you know, the amount of things there that it throws up when it happens. And obviously you try to preempt that. But then if you find your doors aren't going to open because nobody's tested them in that way, or nobody's fitted the right escape button on them, then
at the right height as well. So this is a massive
right height.
This is a massive argument that we're really passionate about.
That's true for kids, isn't it?
So this is the thing. Like, so many schools, you'll find like a green break glass at 1.9 right at the top of the door. I'm like, and we're in the early years, let's say. I'm like, that's really cool until Jimmy's been left behind in a smoke-filled room, and he knows where the door is, and he's probably going to get attracted to the break glass that's got a light on it. So, you know, he knows where that is.
Yeah.
But he can't reach it because it's 1.9. So we've put a blanket, you know, fire regs from memory. Someone's going to correct me because I'm going to quote the wrong thing here. It's 1.2 to 1.4. A red break glass has to be a cool point, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So it's basic accessibility, right? If you're disabled, if you're in a wheelchair, you can still reach that. So we don't allow green cool points now to go any higher than that, unless a specific you know, there's a few small places where for various reasons where it has to, and then again it's like risk assessed, fire risk assessment, fire off what FRAs, and the officer. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of due diligence around that to happen. Yeah. But yeah, there's so much more than people think. I'll put a mag lock on that door. It's like, okay, have we thought about, you know, where's, you know, is it safe to do so? Is a fire? Do we need to put additional controls on it? It's not as simple as just putting a mag lock on, is it? Like, is it a PoE? No. Is there data for it? How far is the data got to run? The cost.
What happens if you get locked in the room?
What happens if you get locked in?
A few times.
Yeah. What happens if you get locked out? What happens if you need to lock in? Can we lock this system down? Do we want to be able to lock the system down in the event of a lockdown?
Need to open everything. How do you interface it with the fire alarm? How do you interface it with the intruder
I'm
alarm?
a massive thing with the fire alarm. Like, I know a lot of schools use like Net2 or Paxton to release on a fire, which is great until that server is the thing that's on fire and doesn't release the. Do you know what I mean? So I'm really like, it's like fire. I always call them IO mods, but the fire relays, interface relays, physical to the fire alarm, completely separate to whatever access control system you're using. And then at least you know, right, it's, you know, fire cable to the mod, to the ACU, and it's completely independent of your door system control. So if because let's be honest, if the server room is burning to the ground, the door, that server ain't going to trigger.
But you know, that's your job to be the firefighter as well.
Of course,
I actually had that once where I was asked to be the fire warden, and I was like, what would you rather me do? Go and get the backups and take them out with me, or go and do the kids and get them out? I was like, I know kids are more important than backups, but there's other people who could do the kids, and I can focus on getting the bits.
This was before cloud backups, right?
Yeah. No,
this wasn't yesterday.
This was last week. Yeah. No. This was pre that, and it always used to make me laugh when they used to say, "Yeah, it's in another room in the same build." I'm like, "Oh, good, because the fire will know where to stop." So to make sure it doesn't go across. I'm glad we've got that sorted.
I find it really hard sometimes when people say it, like things like that. It's like, yeah, we've got this, and this, and you're like.
Yeah, it is a bit like, come on, you know, it's, but I mean, I think it's really interesting that we've managed to have, you know, a good 30-minute or so conversation on two things that seem very mundane, you know, and they're very much a part of what people do and expect, but these things don't just happen, you know, and when schools find that out is usually when they're adding on a building to an existing school. Because they're like, oh, I just want it to work like that. And you're like, it can't work just like that anymore.
And the flip of that is we often talk, and my team will back me on this. I bang on about process and like, let's automate what we can and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, no one other than us geeks in IT are going to think about how does the user get on the door system. But if we can get to a point that when Salamander or whatever you use to provision from your MIS creates that user, then it links into all these different systems and generates all these different like logins, etc. It's like, if you get to that point where Entra is provisioning, you know, within your door system and this and that, and when you disable in Entra, it disables in access. And I know Salamander integration suite, you can do Net2 integration, can't you?
You can. Wouldn't surprise me. You can do everything with Salamander.
This is it. So I use I use a different version of it. So we don't have that feature, but it's
do you use the cloud version of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have a discussion offline of why you're not buying it from me. But
No.
yeah, we'll just have that discussion offline. But
Yeah.
it's yeah, and I think, these things are often not fully funded as well, and forgotten about quite easily, but they are core. Do you know what's on a semi-related sidebar around the amount of schools recently that I've seen that typically didn't used to have fences around them and now got full fences, and obviously gates. So I don't know about you, but in my IT role, suddenly the gate became my problem.
You're opening a rabbit hole here, Matt.
Am I? Why is that?
So over the last few years, a lot of what my role has kind of merged into various, like, supporting states of various things, and I could tell you a lot about different types of fences. but
it's one of our
it's
friends.
wild, isn't it? It's wild.
Yeah, one of our friends. In fact, it's quite things. But one of our joint friends from the ANME has moved from the IT into the development, not the development, the estates facilities management side as well. And Ed Cooper, who used to work with me at Lords, he's now the operations officer, getting involved in all of this as well. So
yeah, I know Ed from before he worked with you at Lords. He worked
you?
at Henley and Arden, didn't he?
He did. You're
And
right.
Henley and I worked at Arden, Matt, when Henley and Arden joined Arden, Matt, and I think we left at a very similar time.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Another example of, like, everyone knows
Small
somehow,
world, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Ed is one of the best decisions I ever made to employers. He was somebody who really helped me. He now works for the Central Regional Schools Trust, which used to be the RSA, who I used to work through Lords. And so when I left Consero and they needed somebody, I said to myself, I think you should go. As much as I wanted him to work for me, he's well done it. But he's one of those guys that's multi-talented and can link everything together. And we all know these days that IT is all about linking everything together. So if you get somebody with those skills to look out of the picture and turn on and go, do you know what? I can see how that needs to work. I can see how that needs to link up. Then where we started, and we were talking about different people doing the different jobs. He can turn around and go, well, actually, I know that somebody could be doing that. It doesn't have to be IT, so I can devolve that
Absolutely
power and that role and that authority to do that outside of the people who would normally. So it makes sense for people to move into those roles for sure. And as we say, a lot of the technology, does stuff on site. How many times have you got involved getting a boiler working across a network for a school or a county council?
Yeah.
Next
Good God,
will
love a BMS
be
system.
yeah.
I think batteries are going to be the next big thing, aren't they? Like, so obviously solar's already, like,
automation.
So solar inverters have been a bane of my existence over last year for various reasons, dropping on and off.
When you move to a Catholic multi-academy, because for some reason they don't like them going on top of the building.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, apparently, I don't know. I don't know what that means in terms of maybe God doesn't like them, but
right, okay.
You're not allowed to put them on top.
Didn't know that.
I don't know. Okay. So you won't have to deal with them again.
Right. Well, well, that's good, because those things were causing me a lot of headaches.
Well, I'm glad we solved that problem for you.
Yeah. But it's just another example. Like, so the battery tech, and that IoT element of, okay, everything needs an IP address, like vape detectors, whatever that looks like now. It's all connected in one way or another. Like, some fire alarm systems are run over wireless. Often they've got their own sort of protocols for that, but again, there's always somehow it needs to be linked to the network so we can monitor it remotely, or we can do this, or we can access it for firmware updates. And
absolutely, yeah. And then you get into the whole thing around, can you with filtering and everything like that as well. So it's crazy how interconnected everything is. And I think that, as I was saying, that links back to the fact that we can spend half an hour talking about these things.
Yeah.
That when you're growing up and wanting to work in IT, if anybody does that, I did, that you don't think that you necessarily be getting involved in, and then all of a sudden you're Jack and you're an expert at fences.
And I tell you what, if I know a lot about fences, Matt. that's all I can tell you. There's different types. I know how to make a school look like a prison, how to make it not look like a prison, and there'll still be a fence there. There's more detail to it than you think.
It's to do with the paint. If you camouflage it, nobody can see it.
The best I saw was not at our trust, thankfully, but school spent loads of money on, like you say, never been fences around it before. They put fences around it, and they used a wrong grade of V-mesh on the fencing, so kids could just use it as a ladder.
Yeah. So suddenly they've got a new jungle gym.
They've just got a new jungle. It's like brilliant, and like it's like you wonder why the kids are escaping. You can literally put your hands and feet through it. It's like,
I got a phone call once that my stepson had climbed underneath the fence and escaped.
Outstanding.
I was like, oh, good.
Well, at least you identified. Yeah.
Where's he gone? Yeah.
Is he okay?
Oh, no, he's free now. He's free. He's free. Rome, go free. It's fine.
Oh dear.
Well, I think that that's a good place. He did return. Just on the safe side thing. He did return. Yeah, he did return.
I was going to finish on. I was just going to. I don't know if I can share my screen or not. And this might work terribly wrong, and we might have to block this out if it goes wrong. But if I click share screen, does it give me the option to choose the window? Oh, it does. Right. So I posted this on LinkedIn. I think you might have seen it already.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And it's not the only one that I've seen. So for those just listening, what we're looking at is Jack's home cabinet.
Yeah,
which
contract,
he lovingly has 3D printed some holders for certain equipment.
Yeah.
And they now are drooping because last week in the fire.
Well, it links. There might as well have been a fire in there.
Yeah. This is what one would look like after a fire, but also a heat wave.
Yeah.
and it's just melted and drooped. And so people should be able to see that on the video if they're watching. If not, look at Jack's look at his LinkedIn and you'll see.
As you say, I was inspired because I saw someone else post that they had the same. So I said, I'd seen that. And what I will say is it got a lot of traction, but I've really enjoyed just reading the comment section of all these random people basically saying that I've used the wrong material to print it. I don't know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's my home comms rack, guys. Like, I wanted to save some money, so I 3D printed,
isn't it? Yeah.
But it's like, you've used the wrong PLA or PETG or whatever it is. It's like, boy, it's like, if it's not production, it's sat mounted to my wall at home, and it's going to stay like that forever now. Like,
I'm just really disappointed that you didn't sort that problem out. Really, I'll put a ticket in for you so that you can.
If you could, that would be great.
So I'm just gonna, now I found out that we can share screens, I'm just gonna share mine as well. So I did a new blog post
nice,
a couple of Saturdays ago, all about balancing affordability and device equity in schools, so we'll talk about this in the next episode, I think. So if anybody wants to check it out and have a read about and give us any questions or any thoughts, that'd be really, really cool. You can get it onto, so it's mattian.co.uk. So Mattian is Mattian, my first and middle names together, before you think it's like Martian or something like that. But yeah, it's just the 3 steps that you need to go through to balance affordability and that device equity. And I actually wrote it, and then in a few meetings, it actually became really relevant for what we've been going through. So some of these schools and, these one-to-one device conundrum where we want to get more devices into students' hands. I've sold over 1,000 Chromebooks to Microsoft schools in the last fortnight because I can get a device in the hand of a student for 250 quid compared to outrageously high costs elsewhere. So what do you need to think about that? Please visit the web blog. My life, I'm falling asleep.
You need to go to bed after this.
I do need to get after my Tesco delivery.
Yeah.
Yes. So last night I fell asleep ordering the Tesco delivery, and today I'm gonna fall asleep after it's come. But yeah, so the Mattian website, you'll be able to see the posts on there. You can either leave a comment on the bottom of there, or you can leave a comment on our YouTube or our Spotify, etc. We did in the last episode, we did a poll. I'm pleased to say we got 0 responses to it. So that was good use of our time. But interestingly, that the latest podcast did get some really good traction with the wider group on it. So we are open to ideas to do others. Everybody's been on it as well to come back, but if you fancy talking about it, and excitingly, Jack, I haven't told you this. So following on, we was going to do one around the mobile phone stuff. I was going to do emergency pod, and then emergency work stuff came up, so I wasn't able to do it. But I think we might be close to getting somebody very high up in Smoothwall who have been actively involved in the whole policy debate. They've been heavily involved in Australia when that's implemented, because that's where their head company is, and over here. So my mate Tom Newton, who's again been on the podcast before, and Smoothwall obviously sponsors, he reached out and said, "Hey, would you like me to try and get this person on?" And I was like, 100%. So we will hopefully have a really good guest to talk about that in an upcoming episode as well. But if there's anything else, I think we've talked about, having a thing talking around. So we cover cybersecurity, so things like the MIS situation, and that kind of thing. Anything like that, really. We're up having those group conversations. So thank you to everybody who's listening. Please do remember to subscribe, though. That is really helpful for us. You can subscribe on wherever platform that you listen to it on, and then give us some feedback, as in, how many thumbs up or stars, whatever they've got on that platform. Just makes us feel all warm and fuzzy inside that we're doing.
And reply to the polls if they're polls.
Well, yes, that would be
There's not going to be any more polls. No more polls. No more
polls. We're just let's just start at the bottom. We've got some listeners.
Yeah.
We've got some watchers. We've got our first couple of likes on the YouTube video from the last one. We've got some comments as well.
Can we ask Claude to give it some more engagement?
I'm going to ask my mate Claude to solve all the world's problems.
Thank you.
And then he'll tell me that I've run out of credit.
And will he tell me that I don't know how to 3D print a rack mount?
If I tell him to, yeah.
Brilliant.
I'll give him the feedback. I'll give you feedback in the next one. And then we will also get Claude to maybe in future episodes tell us some more fun things. See what other things it can come up with that it thinks in
the very, very, very future, we'll have Claude on as a guest.
Do you know what? But do you know what? Ironically, I know we're over our time limit, but I'll just finish on this. When I was driving home tonight, I realised, I can hear the Tuscan, so I'm going to have to go.
Yeah.
Yes. But I realised that on my Apple CarPlay, you can use the ChatGPT app and have a conversation with ChatGPT over voice as you're driving.
Outstanding.
I saw a particular number plate and I was like, where's that number plate coming from? It was RD, which apparently is the Dominican Republic. I was like, what the hell is that doing on the M6? On a lorry.
There's a lot of questions there. And on that
Tesco Man's here, on that bombshell, we'll leave you. See, it's exciting. Subscribe, visit, listen. Thank you. Thank you, Jack.
Cheers, Matt.
Thank you for listening. This podcast is made possible by our sponsors, Secure Schools. Benchmark, improve, prepare. Reduce cybersecurity risks with expert tools and services built specifically for schools and trusts. Smoothwall, who exists to help keep children safe and thriving in their digital lives by supporting and empowering them and those who care for them in school, at home, and everywhere in between. Take control of your resources. Classroom Bookings is an online room booking system for schools, colleges, charities, and more. Organize your shared resources on your own schedule so users always know what is available and when. And First Pillar. At First Pillar, we provide expert operational and business leadership support for schools, academies, and trusts. Our mission is simple: to help school leaders focus on what matters most, pupils, by ensuring every aspect of school business management runs smoothly, compliantly, and strategically. For more information on the show and our sponsors, visit www.edtechpeople.co.uk.